Hello and welcome back to another Strong Collectors Quick Reacts. Today we are talking about Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. Now these are some that I've been interested in a while, was debating on whether or not to order them, went to a local comic and toy show this past weekend, was able to trade for some, and I'm sold. So the thumbnail of this is probably going to be like "Move over, Mythic Legions" or something like that. That's kind of clickbait. Just a fair
Yeah.
warning to folks that are coming
You
here
still love
to.
Mythic Legions.
I do not plan on slowing down my Mythic Legions at all. I just wanted you to click on this video and increase our views. Okay, that's all I wanted. I
And
love these. I love those. Marvel Legends
right.
though, loving them less. That's I think evident.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Jordan, I think
Okay.
these are a little bit more of a mystery to you. I don't think you've been.
Yes. I think you mentioned them. How long ago? Was it a couple weeks now or
At
how?
least, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
think you
I,
mentioned them and
yeah.
sent me something and I kind of looked at it. And then it's always like this with the new lines where I guess you find them or like with Mythic Legions. I remember being like, what the heck is this like? This is like a rinky dink little operation, and then I started looking at them, and then I got some and was like, oh, this is really cool. So
Yeah.
that same thing happened with the Savage Crucible. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you told me about that, and then I was like, eh, but then I kind of looked into it and was a little more interested. So maybe now history will repeat itself once again. But yeah, all I really know is what you kind of just sent me some pictures of yours, and that's about it.
Yeah. So I think, admittedly, these are probably more up my alley than yours. You know how
Mm-hmm.
I love my anthropomorphic figures. That's this line. This line is
Can we
only
can we flash anthropomorphic on the screen like a
if
vocabulary
if
word?
if I can find it, yeah, and figure out how to spell it.
The word of the day is anthropomorphic.
So these are
Yeah,
all human-like animals. So that's why it's up my alley so well.
the
You're
giant
a little bit
animal human hybrids.
right. You're a little more into like the monster type stuff. So I think
That's
that's
true.
where maybe you kind of fit more into the Mythic
Yeah,
Legion
if you found
category.
like a monster line, I
Hmm.
would be sold. So
Yeah. So these are all like the main story is kind of around the apes, which again that's even more up my. Oh, I was gonna wear my. I'm also a fitness coach, and my like coach shirt at the gym is like a gorilla holding a steel mace. So I love my gorillas. Um, but yeah, so kind of centers around the apes, but then there's also other like faction
yeah.
kingdoms where there's like more of the feline characters with like lions and tigers. Then
Hmm.
there's the that's kind of the only main one in the story so far. But then there's all sorts of animals. There's like bats and birds and rhinos and
Hmm.
bears.
Oh my.
Oh my. So we'll talk about the figures that I got here first. I got Kali, who, I don't need to know much about my figures before I purchase them. I was like, oh, Kali, he's like the main character. He's the hero of the story. Turns out, no, he's the main villain of the story. I just
You
figured
just
with
assumed he looked like a hero?
the gold armor made it seem like, and he's Emperor Kali, so I was like, oh, he's the Emperor. He's a good guy. No, he's evil.
He his face looked a little evil to me just from when you were holding him. Yeah, he
Yeah,
looked kind of menacing.
little
All right.
maniacal grumpy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'll kind of go over the articulation for him. It's very similar to Marvel Legends. If you've got Marvel Legends, I think it's a little bit more articulated than Mythic Legions. However, it's not nearly custom. Well, it's really not very customizable at all. In terms of like Mythic Legions, it's like as customizable as a Marvel Legend would be. Like you've got the pins and the elbows and stuff, so it's not like you're just gonna like pop everything
Yeah.
apart here. But like the head kind of has like a normal head articulation, but then it also
Hmm.
has the neck articulation, so you get that kind of like articulation from the bottom of the joint.
Yeah.
Butterfly
Oh.
joints. Not 100% sure if it's butterfly joints on every single figure. These are the only two I have right now. I think everything that's out right now, like Wave 1, has butterfly joints.
How are the butterfly joints?
They're good. I mean, they're not
Yeah.
like Spider-Man
Crazy.
butterfly joints, but they're
But
pretty
there's
good.
some legends with butterfly joints that don't really
Right. And I would
seem
say
to be
it's,
able to utilize them that well.
yeah, I would say it's better than those. And I can't remember what body that is that like
Yeah.
has butterfly joints, but barely. These are pretty good. You're getting good more movement forward and backward out of them. Double jointed elbows and legs. They are pinned, at least double pins in that, and double pins in the legs.
I feel like with that kind of toy, it seems like you wouldn't notice the pins as much, though.
No, not at all.
Or no?
No, and I think because of the way they have, and I don't know if this was intentional, I would kind of assume so, they have it painted the same on both sides, where like Spider-Man, you've got red on one side, blue on the other, so then you're going to have like that weird polka dot. But this is gold armor on both ends, and then even his like wrist gauntlets kind of cover up the bottom peg, so you can barely see it, and then the bottom, like I couldn't see until I like pulled back his like shin guard to even know whether there was a peg there or not.
You always got to look up those shin guards.
Got pretty good ankle movement, which I think is better than most Marvel Legends. Like it moves up, because whenever you get into kind of that like forward crouch, it like the toe kind of right. You don't have enough movement to really get the pose that you're going for.
And the ball joint is just weird.
Exactly. Speaking of ball joints, though, he's got kind of the same Mythic Legion like bottom torso. I don't remember what that's called. That like upside down.
I like
ball
that
joint.
kind of ball joint.
Right, and it's also paired with like a normal ab crunch. So you've got both of those, which I don't know that we've got too many Marvel Legends like that. So I think that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is true. I'm trying to think of Legends that do have that now.
I think there is, or maybe that's like...
Yeah, it's just not like common, though.
No.
It feels more like a premium feature.
Exactly, and both of these figures have it. So again, I would assume that all the figures that are in this first wave, because I know the next wave is going to have a gorilla, which he's going to be bigger, and I would assume has a different set of like articulation. But again, I'm not for sure on that, so don't quote me there. So yeah, that's Kali. He comes with 2 extra sets of hands. So he's got his weapon holding hands, kind of like open clawing hands, and then fisted hands. Then he comes with the 2 swords that I have him posed with. And then he also comes with a like kind of like steampunk revolver. So that's pretty cool. And then the other, well, here's the box that they come in.
So you traded for these, both of them?
Yes, correct. But so I didn't have to pay, but I mean, if you were going to buy these, I think they're $37. I can't remember if it's like $37.99 or something like that. So pretty similar price range as a Mythic Legion. A little bit more than your typical like standard Marvel Legend, but who knows for how long, because that's bumping up and up. But yeah, so you got your window package. Back has kind of the artwork with a short little bio. So just Emperor Kali reigning over all of the greater animal houses with a tyrannical rule with an iron paw. So
he might be a good guy.
Yeah, I read that and I was like, oh, he's ruling with an iron paw. Okay, I mean, maybe he's just like a really strict good guy. I don't know. And then I read the comics, because they have the digital comics you can get online, and then he's not such a good guy.
It depends on who you ask,
Yeah.
Politics, it's all finger pointing. Right. All right. So what is our, were you transitioning to our next guy?
Yeah, so it's similar to Mythic Legions, where you're kind of like, how am I supposed to pronounce this name? I'm going to go with...
You spell it.
A-T-E... or A-T-R-E-I-U.
Atreyu?
Sure. Atreyu?
I don't know.
All right. That works for me. So he's more of a lion.
Ooh. Okay, he looks like a good guy.
Yes. So, not to spoil too much, I don't think I really am, but I read the comics last night, all the ones that were available. So
how many are there?
So it's a little confusing, because there's like a graphic novel, like it's like 170 pages, I think. I think that one's older, but then there's also a 5-part series that I think is coming out with each wave. So there's 3 waves that you can pre-order right now, I think. So there's 3 issues that I was able to read last night. I think he shows up in issue number 2, and he helps the main character Pale, which is the white ape. And he's from like he's on an adventure. He meets up with him, and they get kind of like put into this gladiator situation. They're like teamed up together. So he's like the prince of the can't remember what it's called, Feralist House or something like that. So, good guy. And then he comes with the sword here. He's got the shield, which their shield is kind of an interesting.
This is what I was most curious about when I saw him just now.
So you kind of see there's two ports, so you can kind of have it on either side. And then it's kind of like a Mythic Legion shield where you can like rotate it around so he can be holding it without,
I mean,
that clip from Marvel Legends,
if they release that new cap, probably has it, right? The Puff Adder. Do you think he has a clip shield?
Yeah, he does.
They've got to stop. If the 80th has it, or the anniversary, sorry, it just blows my mind that that's not the standard for shields.
No, I agree.
I'm glad to see it has that, so that's cool.
But then he also comes with just this straight peg that you can port in, and then he's got a hole in his back that you can attach the shield on his back as well. So yeah, sword, he comes with a shorter dagger as well, and then same kind of interchangeable hands. He's got the weapon holding hands he comes with, fists, and then claws. So, again, his box, there. Window. So, and he's got the same exact articulation as Kali. Kali just has like this like loose cape piece.
What is that? The cape piece like? Is it a little more like softer or harder?
Yeah, it's like a softer, like bendable. Like you can move it up and down pretty easily. Not stiff at all. Not soft goods, but I would assume you could pop the head off. I was a little too nervous to do that last night.
Well, some of them you were showing me had alternate heads, right?
Yeah, so there are head packs. I don't think those are out quite yet, or maybe they are with like the Kickstarter, but it's not out on like Big Bad Toy Store. Because that's also the cool thing is these are the same price on Sparrow as they are on Big Bad Toy Store, which is different from Mythic Legions. Usually Mythic Legions is going to cost you, $37 or 37 from the Four Horsemen, but then it's going to cost you like $50 from an approved retailer. Also, in addition to the two figures, I got a weapons pack, so I'll run through those real quick. Sword, same as what came with whatever the lion guy's name is. Another small dagger, same as the other. Right, the Lino wannabe. Another revolver. This one's so like the two. You got the like blue one that came with Kali and a brown one that came in the weapons pack. You got an axe. You got a larger rifle type weapon.
Whoa.
You got a big mace, pretty similar to like how Mythic Legion maces look. I think it's a little bit thicker. And then a spear that you can detach the top part and just kind of have like a slightly longer dagger. And then the spear like ports on. It's like a specific like notch that you have to find and get it in there. So that's the weapons pack. I think most of the weapons packs are pretty similar because they have, I don't know, like 4 or 5 weapons packs. And those are, I want to say like $20 on their website, maybe a little bit less. But yeah, I was able to trade for the 2 figures and a weapons pack. And then that comes with, so this is kind of the main hero of the story, Pale. And then it's in the window box.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'll give you kind of a rundown of the story. It doesn't give too much away. You still should go read the books, which they're kind of fun. They're the artwork is, so there's the 2, like I was saying. So the artwork for like the normal storyline is here. Yeah. But then the other, like the graphic novel, I think the older one is kind of the same art style as like if you've ever read Chew from Image Comics.
You've told me to, and I have the first volume, but I haven't read it yet.
Get on it,
But I think I know what it looks like.
Yeah. So it's similar to that. A little bit of a difference between the 2. But yeah, if you like the Chew art, you'll like the art for this because it's a different person, but it's very similar. So yeah, like I was saying, Kali is the bad guy. Apparently they like, I think these are like humans that like very global warming style, used up all the resources on their planet, went off world to try to find a new inhabitable planet. When they came down, like, their system was like, you guys don't deserve a new planet type of thing. We're going to like turn you into these like animal type beings, and you're going to have to live more like harmoniously with the planet. So that's kind of where it's like bow and arrows, but also steampunky, where they have some machines, but
Wait,
not.
so they left Earth,
I don't know if it was technically Earth, but I think they started out as like human type.
but they left their planet and now they're on a different planet.
Right.
But on that planet, they got turned into animal people.
Right. Like their like AI in their spaceship was like, no, you guys are just going to wreck another planet, so we're going to change you into animals. And
so is this like later on, or is this like picking up?
This is like kind of like
that happened,
like the
generations later.
Yeah, so like the ancestor, so Kali and this other like leader of the Chennari is where the good guys live, or at least this faction that we follow. So like those are the only two surviving members that came over. So it's kind of like she's grandma, then two lines down is our main character here.
Gotcha.
So Kali he's kind of like trying to make clones to like live forever type of thing. So like whenever they beat him and he's like almost dead, his like henchmen take him back and they put him in like the Boba Fett stasis pod, and then he like
wait, Kali, was he the good guy?
No, Kali is the bad guy
Oh,
that I
the
have.
evil emperor.
And then
how did he set up an empire that fast? That's pretty quick.
Yeah,
Like
I mean he was kind of like, well, see, that's where it gets a little confusing, because in the new story, or at least what I assume to be the new story that's like currently coming out, he's like trying to get he's like making these clones to kind of live forever, but there's like something wrong with his cloning process where like it doesn't last very long, I think, or it's not like a perfect clone. So then he's trying to find Pale, the like white ape, this guy, because Pale is his clone that actually worked, but then Pale's like adopted mom like kidnaps him because he's like, I don't want you to like turn into the bad guy. I got to get you out of here. And she runs away. So now Kali's trying to get him to like get his clone back to be, live forever type of thing. But then I just read the longer graphic novel this morning, and it's like a different origin
backstory?
point. Right, because it's instead of that, it's like there's like this king and queen, and somebody's coming to like take over, and then Kali is like, oh, we'll get you guys out of here, like queen and baby go that way, and then they leave, and then he like kills the king, and he's like, nah, now I'm the king. So then Pale is actually the like rightful king because he's the king's son and not a clone. So that's kind of where I'm like, maybe they started with this. So do you think
they had one story and then they pivoted to something different?
It seems like it, because there couldn't ever be that king and queen in the continuing story that's happening now. But I think they're also making characters in the waves to come from that original story. So maybe those characters are just going to be repurposed into the new one. So that's where it gets a little bit confusing. And I'll admit, I love the book. The writing is a little bit where it's like from one page to the next, you're kind of like, wait a minute, how did we just they were just, and now but what happened? So there's some holes in the plot here, but.
Well, that's why they need to, we can get on the show and we can ask them.
Yeah, exactly. I'm hoping we can, because I would love to learn more about these guys.
They could just say, are we just missing it, or what's going on? I would be curious about that too, the creative process on that.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the books are super cheap.
No, it sounds interesting. I mean, I definitely see how. I don't know. I think it's cool to see companies that are kind of creating their own stories, and like, I think you and I are in the same boat of feeling like we're kind of almost more interested in those than the established characters that we are so familiar with.
Yeah, exactly. Because, I mean, when we're upset with like Marvel Legends and they're not coming out with accessories and stuff, yeah, you're paying a little bit more for these guys, but they come packed in with quite a bit of accessories. Like,
Hmm.
it seems like all of them come with 3 sets of hands and multiple weapons, pretty detailed figures. Like, I mean, these guys both here are totally, like, it's the same type of articulation, but everything
Yeah.
about them is unique sculpting.
Right.
Which, I mean, I'm sure you can reuse some of the armor sometimes. But between these two figures, nothing is the same. Like,
Yeah.
all the armor, the feet, the heads, the hands, all different. The
Hmm.
weapons, there's similarities there. But yeah, I mean, like, my plan was I was interested in these figures. I wanted to read the stories and be like, okay, these are the characters I like from the stories. I'm going to get the figures. But
Hmm.
then being at the show yesterday, I was kind of like, well, here they are in front of me. I just got to pick two. I knew Kali was a main character. And then I was debating between this lion character or there's like a ape guard that's kind of like in like a bronze armor that looked pretty cool. But then he was
Hmm.
like, nah, just 2 figures and a weapons pack. I was like, all right, I'll go with the 2 golden armor figures and then the golden weapons pack. So, which kind of worked out well because this guy is sold out on Big Bad Toy Store. And he's the only
Oh,
one that's sold out, at least as of last night. So,
nice.
lucked out
That's
there.
good. Good call.
Yeah. So,
Very cool, man.
I don't know. Now that you
So
know.
when it comes to ordering these, then
Mm-hmm.
obviously you said there's Big Bad Toy Store, but
Mm-hmm.
are there ones that you can back now? Because did you say there is a Kickstarter thing, or it's just
The Kickstarter's over now.
okay?
But they're starting to ship out, I think, from the Kickstarter. And that's where like Big Bad Toy Store is going to be getting their stock from
So
because
they've
I don't
only put out like one wave, so to speak.
of these size figures. They have some other ones that are
Okay.
like 4-inch scale, I believe. And those are in stock right now at Big Bad Toy Store. And
Oh,
those
do you think
ones,
that's what they did first with the
it might
first
be.
story? And then they decided to
Oh,
go with more articulation and stuff, and then they decided to revisit the story.
could be because there's some characters in that smaller wave that are in that original
Hmm.
storyline. And the cool thing about those ones is every figure can be 2 figures. So they come with a swappable
Oh,
head,
okay.
but it's not just like monkey head, angry monkey head. It's like if
Hmm.
it's a brown character, it's like it can be a buffalo head or it can be an orangutan head. So you can have
Hmm.
2 different kinds of like animals. And then there's some that have
Yeah.
like a cyborg arm that you can pop off and put on a regular arm.
Hmm.
So those are pretty cool too. I'm tempted by those, but now that I like
Yeah.
these so much, I probably should just stick with this
They might
scale.
put them out in this
Yeah,
scale
exactly.
eventually.
So I think that's where I'm going to have to try to show some restraint and not go for the ones that are out right now that are in a smaller scale because I don't have
Yeah.
anything else in that scale. So
And
that could
then
be a
you'd have to
whole
start collecting in that
that could
scale.
be a whole can of worms. So
No,
I'll
okay.
leave it for the 6-inch scale. But yeah,
Yeah.
now that you've heard a little bit of the backstory, Jordan, what do you think?
I mean, I'm more interested
Mm-hmm.
hearing the story. I'm curious to look at them more because, like I said, I really only kind of saw the ones that you have, and I took a quick glance at the website, but didn't
Mm-hmm.
like get real into everything. So I don't know. I mean, I'd have to. I might need to see yours in person
Yep.
before I make any decisions. So next time we get together, I would
Mm-hmm.
like to check them out.
Yeah, and these are supposed to be. I mean, if you back the Kickstarter, like you should be getting them like by this week.
Hmm.
But then I would assume Big Bad Toy Store will start shipping out shortly after that because most of these figures are supposed to be shipping in March. So
Hmm.
March is halfway over now, and maybe they're a little bit behind on that. But then I think the next wave is supposed to be shipping by April or May, so pretty shortly after. So,
Yeah.
and yeah, like you said, there is, in addition to the weapons pack, there's also head packs too. So
Hmm.
you can get the slight variations there.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm
Yeah.
pretty excited about them. I plan on using some Marvel Legend money to be buying some of these guys and less Marvel Legends. So
Yeah. I mean, I might be in the similar spot. So
yeah, and for somebody like you who likes to know about the characters too,
it's
it's
true.
a little bit more in depth than Mythic Legions, where you'll get like a
Hmm.
bio here and there, and you can kind of like puzzle piece a story together. Like they're going to come out with a book
Right.
soon, but right now you get the like
Yeah.
issues and you can
I've
read more
been
up.
dabbling in the Mezco lore, and
Right.
world, which has been intriguing me more. But yeah, I would like to see them even come out with like a solid story rather than like the one-offs. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just I'm also I don't know. I'm not really reading any comics currently, so
Yeah.
you just can only dig through the Marvel Unlimiteds before you're like, it'd be kind of fun to read something that's coming out now. But I don't know. I think that's cool that they're doing those and that's an ongoing the comics. Do you know how many there are
So there's going to
supposed
be
to be?
5 in this
Okay.
storyline, which I think is supposed to
Okay.
like coincide with each wave. Because I think you can pre-order wave 3 right now. So you can get the digital comic of issue number 3, and then I'm not 100% sure on issue 4. Like I think you can pre-order because you can get hard copies of all these as well.
Yeah.
I just did the digitals because I wanted to read them last night before we talked about
Mm-hmm.
it.
Right.
So yeah, there's
Hmm.
3 to get now, plus the like bigger, and I think that's also like a 4 or 5 issue like volume. So yeah, there's plenty to read, but I mean
Yeah.
I started last night before bed and finished it this morning, so
Cool.
yeah,
Well, maybe I'll have to check those out.
give it a look. Let us know in the comments. Have you heard of Animal Warriors of the Kingdom before? Did you pre-order them? Did you back the Kickstarter? Were you way ahead of the curve and we're just now catching up? If you hadn't heard of them,
Are you still buying Marvel Legends?
yeah, which of these characters are you most excited about? You can go check them out on sparrow.com, or you can see them on Big Bad Toy Store. There's other toy stores as well that have them for sale. I just can't remember which those are. Yeah, let me know what you think of these guys. I plan on probably not going to be a completist, but there's not many that I don't want. So I hope to have a healthy shelf of these guys. Make sure you're liking, sharing, and subscribing the podcast. And until next time, stay strong.